Hello adventurers, I'm Chris, and welcome to my table. Today we're going to do a very quick primer on how to use Foundry VTT. After either entering the URL or clicking on the link to get to our Foundry VTT server, you will be presented with an authentication box. This may look a little bit different depending on operating system or browser, but it's all the same. Enter the credentials that were provided to you in Discord. Once that's done, you should be brought to a landing page for the game that you're participating in. If this doesn't match, then I haven't switched over to the new game. This one, for example, is Curse of Strahd. Start playing games, group number 1. You'll choose the username that you were assigned through the dropdown and enter a password if one was also provided. Then hit Join Game Session. Alright, so I've preloaded Foundry to speed things up a bit. One of the dialog boxes that'll pop up almost immediately is the potato or not. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but the reality is it does a very good job at setting the computer up to run Foundry according to the horsepower the computer has available to it. A cheap potato is a computer that is a little bit older, or maybe a laptop. A regular potato is a computer that is mid-range or might be getting on in the years. And of course, the coveted premium potato is a computer that can run any AAA game that's released today and look really good doing it. I'm going to choose regular potato for this computer because it is doing other things in the background right now. What you'll see is it'll start reloading things as it brings in assets and sets the settings. So you're going to get a gray screen here. So to speed things up, we've jumped back into Foundry after it's loaded back up. You'll see the user configuration box is now up. This is the user configuration for player 3. You'll see we've chosen a color of red. What the red is for is the accents that will identify things that player 3 does. For example, drawing a ruler, putting down a template on the map. Chat messages will be accented with red, and pings will also come up red. You can also choose your player pronouns here, if you wish. I've placed in he, him. And of course, you've got Demetash Relic, who is my character. Now, he's not actually selected right now, because we can see that by looking in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. We can see player 3, he, him, with no character next to him. When we click on Demetash and we then click on save, we'll see that now it says player 3, he, him, Demetash. Okay, we're going to cover the Foundry VTT interface. On the left-hand side, we can see the toolbar. Toolbar contains token controls, measurement controls, safety tools, and a whole bunch of things like that. Realistically, to get you up and running as quick as possible, the most important thing on the toolbar is the target icon, because we need to be able to select targets to interact with. They can be allies if you're going to lay a buff, or if you're going to heal. They can be enemies if you're going to strike them. The way this Foundry VTT server is set up, it's very important to target because all of the automation depends on what you're targeting. So now that I've clicked on the select targets icon, I can now click on a creature and target it, or another one. Now you'll notice that the target is moving between them. If you want to select multiple targets, hold shift. You can see they're all selected. If we don't want to select everything that we've got selected, we can hit clear all targets, which is the circle with the X. Next up, we've got the map that you're on at the top, BM Bridge North, and who is on this map, so we can see that GM Chris is and player number 3 is, and that corresponds with the players window at the bottom. You can see player 3 is red, GM Chris is yellow. Underneath that, we've got the combat heads up display, combat HUD. This is where everything that Demetash can do is listed. It's faster than the character sheet, and I will show you how we interact with this momentarily. There's also a macro bar at the bottom. If you wish to drag items, drag spells, or actions into the macro bar, it works the same as any World of Warcraft or other MMO that I'm sure you've played. At the right-hand side, we've got the Sidebar. The sidebar contains chat messages where everything that is going on in the game is going to be contained. It's got combat encounters, so this is our initiative list, who's up next and what's happening. The other icons aren't that important, but volume is. So under playlist, we can see that we have volume controls for Foundry. As a DM, it's really difficult to actually set the volume properly for your computer because I don't know if you have headphones, I don't know if you're listening on speakers, so your best bet is to go in here and set this to your preference. Now I've just turned the volume up to 70% on ambient because as we can hear, there's the sound of rushing water in the river next door, and also you'll hear cues for combat that will hopefully help you be better prepared to act quickly in combat. So if we look at the combat encounters and I add all 4 on my DM screen into combat, we can now see we got 3 zombies and Demitash. Demitash has a little d20 to the right of him. This is what Demitash's player would click in order to roll initiative. And Demitash rolled a nat 20. I don't think anybody is going to beat him. So you can see on the right hand side, Demitash has a 27 for initiative because of his bonuses. As the DM, my next step would be to roll the initiative for the creatures that I control on the board, in this case, 3 zombies. You can see now we got 15, 12, and 11. If you want to see what is actually going on, who rolled what, we go back over to chat messages and we can see it listed here. When I actually choose begin combat, a couple things happen. We get that epic sound, we get movement change to combat turn, meaning you can only move on your turn in combat. Outside of combat, you can move anywhere you want to at any time. To move, you can drag and drop, you can use the arrow keys, and for you gamers, you can actually use the W, A, S, and D combination. So we're going to just step Demitash up to one of the zombies so that we can possibly give him a smack. So first things first, we've got nothing selected right now, nothing targeted. So we want to target one of the zombies. We can click on select target, and then we choose that zombie. He is now targeted. We then can go up to the inventory part of the combat HUD and see that Demitash has a couple weapons listed here. One of them being a scimitar, +1 scimitar actually. So Demitash will swing that. You'll see the die will roll for the attack. The attack succeeds because Demitash hit an 18 on a zombie, and the damage that was rolled was a 3, so with his bonuses it's 8 damage. This is all automated, this is all quick, this is streamlined so that we can get through combat and continue with the game. If Demitash didn't have any other actions, if there was no bonus action that he wanted to do, you can hit end turn. This now moves on to the zombie that is next in line, or the next token in the combat tracker. I'm not going to bother attacking with them, but I am going to move forward. What you'll hear happen is that the NPC or player that is up before you in initiative, when they have their turn, you will get a sound that will indicate that your turn is coming up next. And you'll get a little message saying, "Get ready, Demitash Relic, you are up next." And then when it's your turn, we get the epic sound again, and we get to do more things. And that really boils down to the basics of combat. The takeaways are, you always need to target and listen for your warning.